Hello and welcome to Morning Call for Tuesday, the 22nd of January 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg, where it's beautiful outside, sunny but very cold. So I think I'll try not to leave the house today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my 8 subscribers there. We did have I do have subscriber alerts and follower alerts on the show. And last time, yesterday, we had one go off as a test, and there wasn't any sound. I think I fixed that now. There should now be sounds. Thanks for watching. And I'm having a very interesting morning. Before we get into the tech news, as usual, I just thought I'll let you in on something. So on Sunday I started writing a Sunday column since I'm freelancing in German, and on Sunday I wrote a column about it's about my life as a freelancer and stuff that happens. And I wrote a column about our tax form because in our household my wife's doing taxes for us because she's just better with it, and in Germany there's always person A and person B on the tax form, and it's just very old school and very, very 60s, I guess. And I always assume that person A, so the person filing the form for both of them, is the husband. And obviously my wife's doing it, so she put herself into the field for person A, even though it says husband. And and then I don't know. We didn't get our tax form back for quite a while, and she rang up, and they were really nice. But they explained that you shouldn't put the wife in there, because then the software at the end of we do this with software, and we file it with the software. But they were saying that their software on their end then crashes, which is interesting. So I wrote a column about this on my blog. And I tweeted it as usual, but like yesterday and this morning, my tweets, my phone's just exploding because it's been retweeted all over the place. It's been tweeted to the German finance minister, who interestingly used to be the mayor of Hamburg. And yeah, it's interesting. I had the press asking about this, and interesting. I never thought this would have exploded like this, otherwise I would have like pitched it as a story to somebody. But yeah, so that's my morning. I thought I'd let you know. That's also, isn't that much happening in the tech world. There's some stuff. If you're using PHP, you should be aware that the code repository Peer has been hacked. They wrote on their Twitter account that they were hacked, that if somebody has downloaded the package go-peer.phar in the past 6 months, you should get a new copy. That might be infected. They posted the MD5 sum of the uninfected package. They posted the MD5 sum of the infected package, actually. So just be aware if you're using Peer. This might be, you might have gotten malware there. which will then probably run on your website. I mean, PHP is mostly used in websites. Pair isn't used that much these days. Most people use Composer now, and there have been calls in the community to actually turn that off. Pair, that is. So yeah, I just thought I'll let you in on that in case you're using that. Google has been fined in one of the first fines for big companies under the GDPR, the General Data Protection Rules, or regulation actually, in Europe. In France, Google has been fined $50 million, 50 million euros, sorry, for GDPR violations, which, yeah, I guess it's good that they're actually going after the big fish with this, but like my problem with GDPR or DSGVO as it's called in German, is that Google will probably be fined more in other places, but for them 50 million is really, to be honest, is nothing. This is good for the EU. It's a good income stream for the EU, I guess, and it's money the taxpayers don't have to pay. But it's, this whole law has put such a burden on small companies and like even individuals, that it's kind of like it has a huge chilling effect on the on the tech industry in general. And I mean, it is actually really, if you ask the people who came up with it, they say it's designed to go after companies like Google. But you can find them so much and they don't care. They made, like, as The Verge points out, they made $33.74 billion in the last quarter alone. I mean, 50 million euros is nothing compared to that. And sometimes I wonder if we should just change tax rules and just tax these companies properly. Although the EU is also working on that. They're working on a tech tax. That might open up completely different problems. Well, we'll see. At least somebody has been fined now. I'm still not sure if I'm really happy about that. But there you go. It has happened. Speaking of Google, the German antitrust office was investigating deals of a company called IO from Cologne, which owns the AdBlock software, AdBlock Plus, the ad blocker, which you might know. I think it's probably the most used ad blocker out there. And they have a program called Acceptable Ads. And basically how it works is, so as a user, you use the ad blocker, and they have deals with certain advertising companies that you will, even though you're using an ad blocker, you will see their ads because they're saying they've been vetted against malware, they're not intrusive, but actually the advertising companies are paying them money. And so they were investigating this because of deals with Google, who obviously owns a lot of ad networks and, makes all their money with ads. Them and IO having this deal was subject to an antitrust investigation, which has now concluded, and everybody says it's okay. Even the Bundesgerichtshof, which is the highest court in these matters. It's not the constitutional court, but when you're going, like, we're talking business, business litigation here that usually doesn't go in front of the constitutional court. So I think everybody has says this is okay. I am very skeptical. Like, I'm not saying there should have been an antitrust notion here. I do not know enough about antitrust law. I'm guessing this decision was right. I just have a big problem with AdBlock Plus because, I mean, I think I talked about this yesterday or on a previous show anyway. I'm a journalist. I'm an online journalist. I make my money basically from ads, not directly, but now I sell my stories to companies who make a lot of their revenue with ads. So I know this. So I usually won't use ad blockers because um, I feel it's a little bit of a hypocrisy. Although I've been actually lately experimenting with the browser Brave, which has built-in ad blocking and tracker blocking and stuff like that. Just playing around with that, seeing how that works. Although my problem with AdBlock Plus is just like if you use an ad blocker, right? So I'm completely okay with using an ad blocker. There are very intrusive ads on the web. I can understand if people don't want that. And I'd rather have people reading my stories, obviously, than not reading them. But if you use an ad blocker, you want to block all ads. Like, why would you use an ad blocker like AdBlock Plus, which is very popular, but which is now has deals and will let certain ads through that people pay them for? I mean, no. I mean, either you don't want to see any ads, or you want to choose, right? I can understand that. Many people will like whitelist sites. They're like, okay, I know this site, Fab's writing for them. I want him to have money. I'll whitelist that. But you don't want another company who's in bed with the advertisers, obviously, because as we just seen, they have deals with Google. You don't want them to choose which ads are blocked, do you? I mean, that's just I don't get that at all. Well, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I always found that interesting. It's a lot of just like big company news today, but that's pretty much what I've seen. Another story here from China is about the drone company DJI, which I guess is a massive. I don't own a drone. I'm not into drones. I find them interesting, but to me, it's not such a hot topic as it is for many other people. But still, I kind of follow the news, and DJI is like the biggest company in the field. I think they own 2/3 of the market. I mean, they're really big. They're from China. Some people do have misgivings against that because they're saying, well, they're spying for the Chinese and it's drones, and now they can spy on us because we're flying the drones for them. But not getting into that, there's a story that came out yesterday that's really interesting. The company has investigated internal losses, and they lost about $150 million. So about 3 times what roughly, I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, but I'm saying roughly 3 times what Google has been fined by the EU to internal mismanagement and fraud. So it turns out there were DJI employees which inflated prices for parts. So they were saying, when the company was buying parts from other manufacturers, they were inflating these prices, saying these parts are more expensive than they actually are, and then just pocketed the money, which I found very interesting. So, I mean, you hear stories once in a while that this happens, especially in China, because of a lack of oversight, and this is one of the biggest cases recently. I mean, DJI employs more than 14,000 people. Bloomberg is saying in this around the globe. It owns almost 3/4 of the market, and I mean they're selling. I think they do military drones as well. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean these guys, guess they made a lot of money of that, but like they have fired. Now, they've investigated this and have fired a number of people, and hopefully put a stop to that. And now they can spy on us again with the drones. Okay, yeah, that was pretty much it for today. There's one last story to do, which I found interesting, security story. So researchers have found mobile malware that uses the motion sensor in phones to detect if there's if it's actually running on a phone. So if it's moving, if it's bumping around, it's a phone. If it's not, the malware is probably thinking, hey, I'm running in a sandbox here, right? Somebody's trying to analyze me. And it will only activate when it detects motion. We see this a lot, because a lot of vulnerability research and malware research is these days is just like you have cloud farms of lots of instances, and you'll just chuck malware samples into that and then see if or samples of files where you don't know if it's malware, and then you just watch what the stuff's doing, and then you can figure out that it's malware, and you can figure out what it's doing. Antivirus companies do this a lot, and then they can figure out how to fight it. Now, if the malware can just go and not execute, in this case, it can evade detection for longer, and that's what they're doing here as well. What you're just seeing is that the people writing malware are just getting more intelligent with this as well, and that's always like the cat and mouse game, because now the next thing the researchers will do is they will just emulate motion. They'll emulate the fact that our motion sensors are being used in their virtual machines, I guess, in their environments. Yeah, Crickle29 in the chat saying that's clever. Yeah, it is clever. It's like, this is pretty cool. This is how it always goes. Like, often it's the malware authors innovating, of course, because they're the ones on the draw, basically. They're the ones, doing stuff, and then you'll see the AV companies catching up. And then it all gets more and more complicated. This all started with, was it Red Pill? I can't remember if it's the red pill, the blue pill, whatever. There was like this theoretical malware. I think there were people at university, malware researchers, and they came up with figuring out a way of detecting if they're running in a virtual machine, and then how to get out of that, and all this kind of stuff. And I find this interesting. One of the reasons I do security stories, I really like doing security stories, is that there's always something new and something clever going on. There's always these like Israeli researchers who did. There's like this group at Ben Gurion University, and they do all this side channel attacking stuff, and they figured out how you can basically listen to passwords, like how if you're malware and you're in a computer, or like even you're not even in, you might just be able to hack a phone and not the computer, the password's being entered in, and then by the vibrations of somebody typing on the laptop, vibrations going through the desk, the phone, using motion sensors, can actually figure out what kind of characters the user's typing on the notebook, and then actually can figure out passwords. They were able to figure out passwords by, I think, vibrations from the hard drive, all kinds of crazy shit. I just love these stories. Anyway, that's it for today. I have to get back to Twitter and see if the German finance minister is answering tweets and will change the text forms because of my Sunday column. That would be very cool. And I hope you have a nice day. I hope it's not too cold where you are, unless you're in Australia, in which case it's massively hot right now, I think. And thanks for watching. As always, see you around. See you with more tech news tomorrow. And still waiting for one of these breaking news weeks. The biggest story we had so far for the run of this show, I guess, was that German doxer. But maybe we'll get some international breaking tech news at some point, and then I'll have to deploy a breaking news single jingle. Sorry. Not recording an album here. Anyway, have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and see you tomorrow for more tech news. Goodbye.